accepted the car for your daughter. You understood that it was a gift from her father to her. You were merely holding it until such time as she could drive. That was the arrangement. That's what you acknowledge in your answer. What you say is, if I'm correct, I read over your answer, is that as a result of the accident, you had serious injuries, you couldn't work.
I still have not been able to work.
Just a second, you couldn't work.
That's correct.
You couldn't work, and
Yes.
you decided to take the money that you had received from insurance, and instead of giving it to her father, you took that money and you used it for you, and you were living at that time with Savannah.
That's correct.
Anyone else?
Catherine, my daughter Catherine.
And this child is not
No.
the plaintiff's child.
No.
So you were living with two children, one of whom he had no responsibility for, and he has no responsibility for you. Because you've been divorced 14
But he
years.
did have a responsibility to pay for child support, and I didn't take him back to court, Judge, for 2 years. In the agreement that we got notarized, Judge, he was to agree to pay $1,000 a month. I was getting $373 a month through the court. He agreed to pay $627. I have been the sole provider of my house. I have worked my butt off for the last 14 years. I've asked for minimal support from Mr. Forney. I waived spousal support. I did not go after his retirement. I am a strong, independent, small business owner. This accident, I had 3 herniated discs in my neck that were pushing on my spinal cord. I had 2 complete discs taken out of my neck and a bracket put in my neck. I have an aneurysm in my brain from an accident that was not my fault.
That's not it. Just a second. You say that, and I'm really very sympathetic that you had this accident.
Yes.
But you suggest that the accident somehow was his fault.
It's not his fault.
It wasn't his fault. And
he signed the car to me, so it was actually my car. He released liability to me with the intention that it was going to be Savannah's car.
let me explain to you. I read the papers. And if I'm not incorrect, the agreement was that you would register the car as a non-driving car.
No, that wasn't the agreement.
Because the insurance
I don't see that in any of our agreement.
would be less. In any event, it was the clear intention of both parties that this car belonged to Savannah. Now, the car is no longer in existence, but the money was in existence. So if she wasn't getting the car and the insurance company paid the money for the totaled car, that money was money that should have gone to Savannah and stayed with Savannah until she was able to buy another car with it. That's clear.
It did.
That's fair.
I did give her the money,
That's
Judge.
clear.
And 2 weeks after I gave her the money, I knew where she had put it, and I looked where the money was, and she had already started spending the money. So, you know, I hadn't worked March, April. I had the car in my possession for about 2.5 months because my airbags did not deploy, which
Just
made...
a second. You told me that you had the car a month before the accident.
Yeah, but I held on to
Okay.
the car after the accident because
Okay. Give me the reason. I mean,
So, okay, so I wasn't working.
I gave you the law.
I wasn't working.
Okay. So you came on tough times.
I figured a roof over our head, food in our fridge, lights on was far more important than a materialistic thing. Last year was the worst year of my life. I suffered, okay? And
That's not, just a second.
It's not his
That's
fault.
not his fault.
But you know what? As a mother, I did what I had to do.
You did what you had to do. You have to pay him $4,700. That's
And
what
what
you have
about
to,
my counter
That's what you have to
lawsuit?
do, $4,700. And if you have a countersuit for child support, I don't entertain...
It's in the
No,
agreement.
listen to me. I don't entertain child support. You have a family court that you say you used at some point and didn't take him back to for increased support. There will be a hearing, because if you want to
There has been a
enforce...
hearing.
Well, I was in surgery.
When was the last hearing?
Yeah, November 25th, when I was in surgery.
Okay, $4,700, judgment for the plaintiff. Anything that regards child support, you take to the courts.
Can I ask?
Forget the $500 that you gave her for clothes. What you're here
Petty.
for, basically, is the money for the car. That's clear. The money for the car that came from insurance should have gone to and stayed with your daughter or given back to you and said, buy her another car because I had an accident with this one. That's what should have happened.
I
It
agree,
didn't
that was the
happen.
plan.
That's what's going to happen now. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't agree with her decision.